Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jessica McDonald. I am a knitwear designer and I'm coming to you from a tiny town, a very snowy town today in the mountains of Idaho. Just a forewarning, my 2-year-old doesn't nap very consistently anymore, so you might hear him. He's downstairs watching a show / playing with his sister, so we'll see how this goes. I might have to pause a few times. It should go fine. They typically don't want me to stick my nose in when they get into a game. They've got all the blankets out and they're making a giant nest, they say. So they're having fun. Okay, so this is my knitting podcast. You can find all my designs, since I'm a knitwear designer, you can find all my designs on Ravelry and my website. I'll put links to those places down below. You can also sign up for my regular email newsletter. I'll put a link to that down below. It's the best place to be if you want to be alerted to new pattern releases, like this one's coming soon. And I'm also going to put a link in the description box to my test knitter email list. That's a new thing. I used to just ear burn people on Ravelry, but I've actually started a email list specifically for test knits. So if you are interested in test knitting and would like to be on that list, there will be a link to sign up in the description box below. But that will just be for test knits. That's not, you're not going to get any like new release emails for that. You'll just get one every time I post a new test knit and that's it. So there's a bit of admin. First of all, before I jump into WIPS and FOs, there's something very exciting I want to show you. If you've been following along or watching my later episodes, you will have seen that I've been working on a book for the last year. And it's finally come. It came right at the end of November, right before Thanksgiving, the United States Thanksgiving. It's finally here. The pictures are beautiful. It's just a beautiful book. Here's the back cover. This is one of my favorite pictures. Brenna in birch with juniper on. This is one of my favorite pictures that I took. And this one, I like this one too, obviously, since it's the cover. But I wrote all the patterns, took all the pictures, put the book together myself. I did absolutely everything myself. I had a tech editor who also drew the schematics. I've got to show you a schematic here. Maybe I'll show you the mitten ones, because in the colorwork schematics, let me focus this here. You see the little white stitches? They look like little hearts. And that just pleases me to no end, that the little stitches look like little hearts in the colorwork schematics. It just makes me very happy. So yeah, that was Becky Monahan. Monahan tech edited my schematics and the tech editing, but the rest of it I did myself, which took me 11 months from start to finish, which I'm very proud of this book. It's got 7 patterns in it, 4 sweaters, 3 accessories. They're sized from 2 to 12 years, and the accessories have adult size patterns too, so they're graded for adult sizes as well. So the hat, mittens, and cowl also include adult sizes, and there's all kinds of nifty little details in there. Like if you want to make birch, which is this cabled sweater, all of it's on one page. Literally, that's the whole thing on one page. All of the charts are on one page for ease of knitting, which is one of the big things that I try to pay attention to as I'm writing patterns. Anywho, so here's some stunning pictures. There's a lot of really gorgeous pictures in it and beautiful patterns in it. We took all the pictures on a family camping trip. Anyway, so if you will ignore my angry 4-year-old in the background, if you would like to buy a copy of this book, it's on my website, jessicamcdonalddesigns.com. I will have a link to it down below, but I'd like to do a giveaway. A 6-year-old chimes in. I think somebody's coming up. I'm gonna have to take a little break here. Okay, I'm back. So I'm gonna do a giveaway of my book. So what I would like you to do to win the giveaway is I would like you to subscribe to my channel and comment in the comment section below what child you're going to knit for, whether it's your child, grandchildren, friends' children, nieces and nephews, what have you. Just tell me who you have in your life, who you're going to knit a sweater or set of accessories for. And then on January 3rd of next year, January 3rd, 2022, I will pick a winner from the comment section down below and mail this off. This is open to anyone, anywhere in the world. I will ship it anywhere to make it fair. So, a giveaway for one copy of Woodland Ramble. I just love the cover, isn't it? Just gorgeous. It's just beautiful. This is my eldest daughter, anyway, and my favorite sweater from the collection. And our favorite camping spot, and you know, there's a lot of warmth and good memories for me in this book, and it was made with a lot of love and a lot of care, so I hope you guys love it as much as I do. So this is Woodland Ramble, my first ever book, which you can buy on my website, link below, or comment in the comment section who you're going to knit something for, and I'll pick a winner for the giveaway on January 3rd. And yeah, I am currently working on the grown-up version of all these patterns, because as soon as I started them, everybody wanted the grown-up versions of all these patterns, so you'll see the first one and start of the second one, which I'm going to call Forest. So anyway, there's my book. It's very exciting for me. Very, very exciting for me. Also, I ship plastic free. If you are excited by that, I'm always excited by that. And I do sometimes choose to buy from people who I know ship plastic free instead of other people who use plastic. So it will come to you with no plastic at all. Better than Amazon. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. I'm not just kidding. Okay, there's my book. Now, shall we talk about knitting? So you can see I have an FO on. This is Blizzard. It's just a really, really stunning colorwork yoke. I'm not going to stand up because there's no colorwork on the sleeves or the hem. It's just plain stockinette, straight body, slim fitting tapered sleeves. All of the magic is right up here in the yoke. So this one is done in collaboration with Bare Naked Wools, and this uses their Better Breakfast DK, which is a blend of merino and de-haired alpaca. I made Skift out of this. So this is the grown-up version of Skift. That's a design that I released in August, this last August, a kid's sweater that I don't have with me right now. Anyway, so after I released the kid sweater and everybody loved it a lot, I emailed Bare Naked Wools and was like, hey, do you want to do a grown-up version? They were like, of course, let's do it. So here it is. This sweater, and also Skift, has been designed with the beginning colorwork knitter in mind. This is for somebody who isn't super experienced. Obviously, people who are experienced can also knit this and they'll really enjoy it. It will be really nice and relaxing for them. But if you're somebody who's new to it and you want to make a really stunning colorwork sweater, this one has been made specifically for you. So you start out with very simple 1x1 colorwork. It's every other stitch changes color. That means your floats are only one stitch apart. They're really short. You can get into it and get some practice with just the mechanics of knitting with two colors in a very easy way through this section. And then you get a little bit more complicated down here. You have 2 brown, 1 white, 2 brown, 1 white, 2 brown, 1 white. But the repeats are still really easily memorized. You don't have to remember any more than a 4-stitch repeat at any point in time through the whole sweater. All of the floats are really short. None of them are longer than 3 stitches. So that makes it really easy for you to manage the tension of your yarn as you're knitting, and That way you don't have to catch the long floats. When you're knitting color work, you are supposed to catch longer floats. I never do, because I'm a rebel. But anyway, in this sweater you wouldn't need to, because the floats are all really short. And all of the increases in the yoke are worked in these plain rounds, so there's plain main color rounds between the various colorwork motifs, and all the increases are in there, so that you don't have to remember increases and colorwork on the same round, which makes it easier to knit. So this whole thing has been designed to be easy and to be achievable, so that if you're somebody who's not super experienced or super confident in knitting colorwork, you can make a gorgeous sweater like this, and it won't be frustrating for you. So that's the story of Blizzard. This pattern will be out on January 24th of 2022. If you don't want to miss it, make sure you sign up for my newsletter. Link is in the description box below. You will, of course, be the first person to hear about it, but you'll also get the best discount on the new release. So this is Blizzard. It's a DK weight yarn. So I cannot wear alpaca. I just can't. The halo on it just drives me insane. Same with mohair. I just can't do it. So I was a little bit curious about how the de-haired alpaca would feel on me, and I can wear it just fine. It's wonderfully soft. It's got a little bit of silkiness to it, and you can see it's pilling because I've worn it so much, but you can see that there really isn't that halo. You know how there's a big halo on most alpaca yarns? There's not a halo on this one, and that halo is what irritates me, and I'm sure most other people, but it's not on this yarn. So if you are sensitive to alpaca, I think you'll be okay with this one, because I'm fine with it, and I cannot wear alpaca. So this is my FO. This is Blizzard. It just looks so stunning, so striking. The white color work on the dark background, and just these simple graphic motifs. I love it. It looks fantastic. I really love this sweater. We took pictures last weekend. We went up in the mountains, which is just a few miles from my house. You can hear various toys downstairs. I hope it doesn't bother you. We just went up in the mountains a few miles from my house and took these pictures. Took the final pictures for this, which we won't be able to go in the mountains anymore now because we got like a foot of snow in the last 24 hours. I'm sure the mountains have more. We had a giant snowstorm. It looks like a winter wonderland right now, but in a day or two it's just gonna be kind of all right, so there's my first FO. Here's my first WIP. So this is a pattern for Forest, which is the grown-up collection of Woodland Ramble. This is the grown-up Tamarack. Maybe I'll show you the kid version of it. So this is Tamarack. You probably can't see any detail at all with how far away it is, but it's an all-over textured shawl collar cardigan, very classic style. Here's the adult version. I just finished the collar yesterday or the day before, so now all I've got left are the sleeves. It's top-down raglan with broken rib texture all throughout, which is really, really simple to work, but it's really enjoyable, really peaceful to knit. You knit on the right side and work knit purl on the wrong side. Or you can swap that and knit purl on the right side and purl on the wrong side, but I didn't want to add more purling than is necessary. Often, so this is the wrong side. The wrong side is also a beautiful texture, which is often used in like cabled sweaters and fisherman style sweaters as well. So that's really pretty as well. But we're using this side of the texture on this sweater. So I've already done the collar. It's a 1x1 rib shawl collar. uses German short rows, which is the easiest short row method in my opinion. And it has buttons, which I don't generally do buttons because I really hate sewing them on. But this one has buttons. I really wanted that classic shawl collar cardigan look. And the kid version has buttons, so I thought I should do buttons in the adult version as well. Although I did consider just leaving the buttonholes off and saying, hey, if you want buttons, here's how. But I decided to do them in the end. You'll notice that I did the collar before the sleeves. I think that's a lot easier because then you can work the collar. I'm getting really bright, aren't I? The clouds are kind of easing off and it gets... I don't know how to adjust the light on my camera. So I'll just be very pale. Back to the order I knit them in. I like to knit the collar before I knit the sleeves because when you're working the shawl collar, you're turning a lot. When you work these short rows, all the short rows in here, you're turning a lot. And if your sleeves are there, there's just two long tangly things getting in the way and you have to maneuver them as well. So it's a lot easier to knit the collar first and then do the sleeves because the collar isn't huge. It's not terribly huge. So it's really not disruptive when you're working the sleeves. Plus when I work the sleeves, I'll turn the whole sweater for the first little bit, not exactly the whole sweater, but like the top part of the sweater for the first little bit, and then I'll just turn the sleeve and I won't turn the whole thing. I'll often fold it so that just the sleeve is sticking out of my knitting bag and then I just turn the sleeve and I don't worry about the rest of the sweater. So that's why I've done the collar already. I'm going to show off my buttonholes to you. This is the very first time I have ever worked a buttonhole that is not a yarn over buttonhole. So there it is. It's worked over 4 stitches. It's pretty sturdy. I found a method that makes a pretty sturdy and neat buttonhole. Hopefully it's get my face out of there so you can see the buttonhole. It's pretty sturdy and neat. And I thought it was pretty easy to work anyway, so yeah. Though I do think that I put this one too high, the very first one on the top. I think it's too high because when I fold it over the collar, it goes like this, and the buttonhole's right there in the fold. So I think I put the first one too high. Which, given that I don't do a lot of buttons, I don't have a PhD in buttonhole placement, so I might end up, I don't really want to rip the collar out to remove that buttonhole. It does kind of just disappear because it's right on that fold. It's right on that fold. So I am kind of wondering if I just pretend it's not even there and just put my first button here, which is the second buttonhole. Oh, I guess it's the third buttonhole. Put my first buttonhole here, which this is the second buttonhole down, and I think it's in a good spot for the first buttonhole. And then just pretend this one's not there and ignore it forever and ever and never tell anyone about it because it pretty effectively disappears. You can see it a little bit, but it pretty effectively disappears. Just manipulate it a little bit, tuck it underneath, and pretend it's not even there. Can I do that? Because I don't really want to rip the collar out back to here. I would have to rip out about 1 inch of knitting. They're worked over 1 row, so I wouldn't have to undo all the buttonholes or half of each buttonhole. I would just need to rip back past this buttonhole and then go back, but I really don't want to. I really don't want to. I might just hide it and pretend it's not there and never tell anyone. So, because yeah, this buttonhole is more in an appropriate place for the first button. I likely will never button it anyway, but yeah. So there it is. Yeah. It fits quite nicely over my present, doesn't it? So I just need to do the sleeves, and I'm saving those for this weekend. We're driving over to my family, which is 4 hours away. My sister's getting married, so I'll have a total of 8 hours of card knitting, plus whatever downtime I have there. So I thought I would, my dog is in the garage downstairs. It's very noisy today, isn't it? They're in the garage because they're soaking wet because they were playing in the snow. Anyway, so I think I'm going to save the sleeves for this weekend. I'll have 8 hours of card knitting plus whatever downtime I have, and then hopefully I can just finish them this weekend because like 4 hours per sleeve should be doable. Maybe that's unreasonable. It is worsted weight yarn, so it's going to go fast. And sleeves never take me too long, so yeah, that's what my plan is. I actually really enjoy sleeves for travel knitting or like knitting while you're chatting or what have you. I enjoy that. So, I know most people hate sleeves. I don't. They're very simple and relaxing. Okay, so there's my grown-up Tamarack, which I have not named yet, and I have to run downstairs real quick. Okay, since I'm saving the sleeves of the grown-up Tamarack for this weekend, I had to start a new sweater, so here we go. Very, very exciting. Very exciting. This is the neckline and short rows for the grown-up Cedar sweater. Just barely started. I've got the pattern written up, so I wanted something a little bit simpler to knit on over the holidays, so I decided to get this one started, and then it's fairly easy Christmas knitting. I've got a giant mess of yarn here. It's fairly easy Christmas knitting, and then also when we drive back to my family over New Year's, then I have something to knit in the car then as well. So this is grown-up Cedar. I wasn't planning to start this for a while because I didn't think I had the yarn for it. I knew I had these two colors, caramel and Goland. This is the Rerum Natura Ulysse. This one is the Rerum Natura Gilliat. This is the worsted weight yarn in the color caramel. This is the Rerum Natura Ulysse, which is the swart weight yarn. This is the color caramel. I had the gray and the caramel, but I wasn't sure if I had enough of the Forite color, which has been perpetually out of stock, although it is back in stock today, which is very exciting for me. I have this partial ball that's left over from Woodland Ramble, so I thought, you know what, it's probably enough. I'm just gonna go for it because Cedar it has a gray main color, and then it uses these two colors as contrasting color work. So there's 37 grams here. I think it'll be enough. If it's not enough, it will be okay. But it should be enough. This should be enough to do because the green it uses more caramel than it uses Forite. And for the size 2, the size 2 Cedar and the Juniper cowl, I only used, the rest of this skein. So I think this should be enough for the sweater. I have another skein of this coming because I'm planning to use these 3 colors together for some of the accessories. So I have another skein on the way that should come December 23rd, coming from the Knitting Loft in Canada, which had Ulysse in the color Forite in stock, which was the only place I could find it. Oh, now Rerum Natura themselves have it back in stock as of today. So that is the grown-up Cedar, barely WIP, but in interest of full disclosure, I thought I'd show you that. Now that is all of my sweaters all my sweater knitting. Now we're going to move into the hat section. So I thought I'd show you my Ruska hat. It's got the pom-pom now. I did a little survey on Instagram asking people what color pom-pom I should do. I was originally just going to use the main color because I'm boring, but one of my Instagram friends was very attached to the idea of using the gold color, and basically started a cult to get people to come over to my profile and tell me to use gold, so I did. And it looks very nice. I really like it. Looks really cool. This is my Ruska hat. The pattern will come out on January 3rd of 2022, so the first Monday of next year. It's worsted weight yarn. I used Barrett Wool Co. Wisconsin Woolen Spun. This is the color Quaker Gray. Pebble is this dark gray, and then Penny is this gold color. So the last time I showed it to you, it didn't have the pom-pom yet. So I did film a tutorial on how to make a pom-pom. I need to put it up on my YouTube channel. I would like to do that before the end of the year, so you can keep an eye out for that. If you're subscribed, you'll know, because this pom-pom looks pretty cool, doesn't it? There once was a time when every single pom-pom I ever made simply fell apart, or fell off the hat, or whatever else, but now I can make pom-poms that look good and actually stay on. So this is my Ruska hat. I'm very happy with it. I made the 21 and a half inch size, which might be a little bit large for most women, but I have a huge head and I don't like tight hats, so this is the perfect size for me. And yeah, I think it looks fantastic with the pom-pom. We took pictures of it up in the mountains last weekend as well. So yeah, there's the Ruska hat all done, and it is glorious. It's already been worn in the snow. So this one will come out on January 3rd. If you want to make sure you don't miss it, sign up for my newsletter. It has 5 sizes included. This is the second to largest size. There's one more larger and then 3 smaller. So from baby up to big. So there's the Ruska hat. Next up is a secret, a very big secret. Josina and Johanna, my sisters. If you're watching, you have to turn this off now, or I will not be responsible for this surprise being ruined. So in my family, the people in my generation, my siblings and my siblings' spouses, we all do a name draw every year. So we each only get a gift for one other person in our generation. So this year my husband and I got 2 of my sisters. I drew one sister, he drew the other, and I was like, I'll just take care of both gifts because why not? So I'm knitting them hats, and I decided I was going to do colorwork hats, and I figured out, you know, what colors they like and what color scheme they want, and bought 2 skeins of Quince & Co. Lark for each of them, 1 contrast color, 1 main color, and then I thought, oh, I'll just pop on Ravelry and find a pattern. And it won't be hard at all, because I'm sure there's a worsted weight star motif hat pattern already in existence on Ravelry, and I was so sure there would be one. And I didn't really have time to design a whole new hat, so I was just going to buy a pattern. And I get on Ravelry, and lo and behold, there are no worsted weight star motif, kind of like a Nordic star motif hat, colorwork hat on Ravelry. There are none. There are literally 0. So I made up my own, which is basically my designer origin story. I couldn't find it, so I made up my own. And then after I made my chart, I realized that I made my chart way too tall, and there was not going to be enough room in the body of the hat for the whole chart. So I decided to leave off the top chunk of it and just do the bottom chunk of it, since it's at a worsted weight gauge. But I think that I will also do this in a fingering weight in the future, so that I can do the whole chart in the hat, because I really fell in love with the chart I created. But anyway, let me show you. I'm sure you're dying to see it. So here we go. This is done. I just finished it earlier today. Haven't woven in the ends or blocked it or anything yet, so it's a little bit, I'm trying to hold it in such a way that you can really see it, but it wants to curve. Hang on, I'll get there. It will behave much better when it's blocked, but anyway, like this. So you've got a big star motif. You can see I just left off after the top of the star here, but in my original chart, there's a lot more stuff up here that would not fit. It would not fit at this gauge. So the chart is 20 stitches wide, which after I, came up with the chart and realized what gauge is, it's like that's probably why all of the color work star motif hats are in fingering weight, because the motif is so many stitches across that it doesn't really work at a gauge this large. Like there's really not any way I can grade this to different sizes. This is a 20-inch size hat, which is suitable for most adults, especially women. We generally have smaller heads, although I don't. Yeah, that should work fine, and I can do a 24-inch size, which would be fine, but that's quite large even for the biggest heads out there. 24 inches, quite large. But to go down to a 16-inch wouldn't really work, because then this is just too tall and it would be weird. The height would be too tall for the width. But anyway, so that's the adventures in grading. But anyway, this is a Christmas hat, and I'll try it on for you so you can see it. It fits me okay, although it does fit me a little bit tighter than I like my hats to fit. Like I said, I have a really big head. I think my head's even bigger than my husband's. I have to buy men's hats, so do keep that in mind. Women's hats just don't fit me. But anyway, here is hat. Hopefully you can see. I really don't know what I'm doing here. Try to show you the hat. These little ear thingies from where the decreases start, I hope they will block out. I really hope they will. They should. It should soften nicely when it blocks. Anyway, so see, it does fit me. It is a nice snug fit. There is a little bit of negative ease, which is normal for hats, but I'm finicky about my hats and I don't like it. I like positive ease on my head because I'm picky. And anyway, so there is my Christmas hat. This is number 1. So this is Quince & Co. Lark in the color Gingerbread is the main color, and Iceland is the contrast color. So when I made these, remember I bought 1 skein of each color, and then I got into that and was like, oh, this 1 skein of main color is not going to be enough. So I popped on, bought a 2nd skein of Gingerbread, and I had originally bought this color for the other sister, which is Malbec. I kept calling it Merlot, but it's Malbec. Isn't that a stunning, rich purpley color? But this one was sold out at that time, so I bought some slate, which I thought was going to be a really dark navy. Even on camera it looks like it's showing up pretty navy-ish, but it's not navy. It's a really dark gray. It might have some blue undertone in it, but it's really dark gray. And I don't think my sister would actually like this, but I was like, oh, there's not enough time to get more yarn. I'll just use it. And so I skeined it up like an hour and a half ago. And then immediately after I skeined it up, I was like, well, let me see if I have any leftover yarn elsewhere that I could use, because I don't think she'd like this. I really don't. So I dug into my box of yarn that's left over from Woodland Ramble, and I have a skein and a bit of Rerum Natura Gilliat in the color Caramel, and a partial skein of same yarn base in the color Bolio. Bolio? I'm really bad at pronouncing French names. Please forgive me for butchering them. So this color combination looks really nice together. Isn't that pretty? And it's worsted weight, so it should work just fine. So one sister likes terracotta, and so I bought gingerbread for her because that was the closest to terracotta that I could find amongst the colors available. So I thought this would be for my sister who loves terracotta. The other one likes really rich colors, really rich, warm colors. So this would be perfect for her. Then I realized as I was sitting here earlier that this color combination would probably work better for the sister who loves terracotta because the caramel is more of a terracotta-y color. This one is a little bit more red. You can see them side by side comparison there. So what I'm planning to do is give this hat to my sister who loves warm, rich colors, and she'll love this. And then knit for my other sister these two together, which will look really nice, and I think she will really love because this one's more terracotta, although it's not quite as orange probably as a true terracotta, but it is pretty terracotta-y. I think I'm gonna put down my blinds a little bit. Is that better? The storm is starting to lighten up a tiny bit. The sun is right there, very low in the sky, so it shines directly into my window. So this needs to be knit up. I'd like to have this done by the end of tomorrow. Just kind of fast, but I'm gonna try. I'm going to try that. This one just needs the ends woven in and the pom-pom made. I have enough to make the pom-pom, although I did wonder if perhaps I wanted to put the two colors together and do that, but I don't know. So yes, these are my Christmas hats. A little bit of a long story going into them, and yeah. I messed up the color work 3 times on this hat. It is a very long chart, 20 stitches wide. It's only repeated 5 times, so you really cannot memorize it anywhere. And I was knitting it while I homeschooled my children, so knitting complicated color work whilst educating children is not exactly a recipe for success. So I messed up in a few places, which you will never ever see and never ever know, because right after I finished it, I took the main color, took little strands of main color and duplicate stitched over my mistakes, so nobody will ever know about them, except for you, because I'm telling you about it. But yeah, if you mess up in your color work, you can just use duplicate stitch and go over top of the stitch that's the wrong color, and yeah, nobody will ever know. Like, let's see, you can't even find them after. Right, here's one. Right there. That stitch in the middle that is the main color was originally gray. And you will never, ever know that it was. So yeah. I'm really pleased with this color combination. The gingerbread and Iceland together just looks really, really stunning. The reason I went with Iceland instead of, say, a stark white color, using, plain white color, is often when you use a really stark contrast like that, it ends up with kind of a harsh, cold feel. But if you kind of mute the contrast a little bit or tone down the light color, so I went with, it's just a very, very, very light gray. It softens it a little bit and gives it a warmer finished look versus a stark white. Like a stark white in here would look really, really cold, in my opinion, really harsh. But using the gray instead, From a distance, it just looks white because it's such a light gray, but it softens it a little bit and makes it have a little bit warmer feel, if that makes any sense at all. The same will be for this one, because this is not a pure white. It's got a bit of gray in it. It's like a very, 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 very light gray. So it will have that same softened effect in it. So there's that. So there's the Christmas hat. I was thinking about possibly just keeping this a secret for a long time and then putting it in my next book after Forest. Hang on, I'm going to stop and restart my camera. My camera only films for 20 minutes at a time. So I was thinking about keeping this a secret for a while and then putting it in my next book after Forest, because I'm planning to do a book that's all color work. That would be in 2023. Maybe I'm planning a little too far in the future, but I thought about saving this design for that book, but then I decided that was silly because it's beautiful and I love it, and I've already got one sample. I'm about to have two. I'll take pictures of it before I gift it. Is that allowed? Anyway, so I thought I would just release this pattern in February because, I mean, I've already got it ready to go. So I could have it sent off to the tech editor in like 20-30 minutes and started testing it. So I decided I'll do that. I'll release it in February. So once again, if you like it and you don't want to miss it, sign up for my newsletter. And then I think that I'll work on a fingering weight version to release later in 2022. TBD, because I really have no idea when I'll be able to fit it in. So yeah, I'm calling it the Christmas hats because I have no more interesting name at this time. Anyway, there's my hat. What else? What else do I need to talk about? Well, would you like to see my Christmas stockings? And then I'll show you some really exciting yarn after that. Does that sound good? This might be pretty long. This might be pretty long. So here are my Christmas stockings. These are not a recent make. I made 3 of them 4 years ago and 1 of them 2 years ago. So here's the ones I made 3 years ago, or 4 years ago. And then here's the one I made 2 years ago. You can see by the time I made Aiden's stocking, I was comfortable with 3-color color work. So these are the stockings. There's no pattern for them. I got a free plain stocking pattern off of Ravelry, found a bunch of different color work motifs on Pinterest, and put them together, which wasn't a perfect solution. I've written a blog post that I published yesterday about it, all about the details of the stockings. So I'll put a link to it down below in case you want to go read through my thoughts. But anyway, yeah. So it's just a simple top-down, heel flap, gusset, color work stocking. I worked them all in Cascade 220. I don't remember the colors, red, white, and green, obviously. The girls have stars and trees. The boys have trees and deer. Their names are put in with duplicate stitch that I just found a chart on the internet. I'm pretty sure the letter chart was a cross stitch one. I'm pretty sure this one was a cross stitch one. This one just doesn't work really well in color work. It looks kind of goofy if you look at it too long. I'm pretty sure this one was also a cross stitch chart. I just really had a lot of fun with them. The problem with the way I did the duplicate stitch for their names is, for one, if their name is a little bit longer, it disappears around the back. It would have been nice if her whole name was on the front. and it makes the top of the stocking flare out, which I don't really like, but anyway. I never put a loop on them because we don't have a mantle, so we don't hang them up. We just lay them on the floor in front of the tree for Santa to fill up. I think Brenda's is my favorite one of all 4 of them, honestly. So I don't like this big white chunk here, but when I started making these, I didn't know about any other kind of heel, and I was not savvy enough to switch. Like if I did it now, I would do a short row heel and then just continue the color work flowing down into the foot, because this big white chunk here bothers me. But at the time I made these, I was not experienced enough to color work through these decreases either. So yeah. These were not my first colorwork project. My first colorwork project were 2 stockings for my girls 5 years ago that were absolutely horrible, and I immediately ripped them out. And yeah, tried again the next year when I was more successful, as you can see. So they're really pretty. They're really cute. There are some things about them that I would change if I had to make them over again today, but the kids are really, really attached to them. So there's no way I would be able to just be like, new stockings, here you go. They would be very upset because they just absolutely adore these stockings. So even though I look at them, I'm like, oh, that's goofy. I wish I did a contrasting heel here. This doesn't work quite right. You know, they love them, absolutely love them. So they're a treasure, even if they are a little unique. These do still look pretty nice. If I don't focus on what bothers me about them, then I'm happier with them. So there's Talia and Brenna and Jimmy and Aiden. I didn't make stockings for my husband and I because Santa doesn't bring us stuff for a stocking. So anyway, those are the stockings. Like I said, I wrote a whole blog post about them. If you want to see pictures and hear the story in a little bit greater detail, you can go read my blog post. Now I have to stash them away, or the kids play with them and try to wear them around the house, and they will eventually get ruined. So I'm gonna hide them away again. So now we're done with the knitting section. Now we're going on to acquisitions. So you might have seen unspun yarn around, Newton or Plotolopi or something like that. It looks really cool, doesn't it? Well, I had a Spanish company message me on Instagram and be like, hey, you want to try our yarn? And so I looked into it. It's like, yes, please. So this giant box arrived yesterday. You can't see it because it's, there you go. This giant box arrived yesterday, and it is full of unspun yarn for me to try. So this is really cool. This is right next to my head. It's as big as my head. The plates are really, really light, like super lightweight. I was really surprised when I saw the size of the box and I picked it up. I expected it to be a lot heavier given its size, but it's just like light as a feather. And the texture of the yarn feels really dreamy. I can hold it up here. I don't know if you'll be able to really see it even. These are 2 strands here. But it's just really, really airy. Just absolutely stunning. And I think it's going to make a really, really beautiful, soft, lightweight fabric that's just really lofty. So I'm really excited to knit with this. So this came all the way from Spain. It's called Manchalapi. It's from Wool Dreamers. They make this unspun yarn, and then they also have some spun merino yarn. But they have this unspun yarn in a number of natural shades. I got these 2 shades because I'm going to make colorwork sweater with them. you can see they contrast pretty nicely, but it's not going to be a really stark contrast. Same as what I was saying before, if you do too strong of a contrast when you're doing a light and a dark together, it can end up looking kind of harsh. I don't know if that's really the term I'm looking for. It doesn't really look harsh. It stands strongly, like this one, it's very striking. It stands out really strongly. But if you tone down the contrast, when you're working with two different tones, if you tone down the contrast, so this one is a very, very light brown and this one's a medium brown, then you end up with a softer look to your color work. Like I could have gone darker in this and lighter in this, but I didn't because I wanted a softer look to it, a softer contrast. That's why I went with these two colors. Maybe that makes sense, maybe that doesn't. I feel a little bit like I'm just rambling now because, yeah. Anyway, so this will have, I mean, it will be easy to distinguish the patterning. It's not going to look muddy. You don't want to tone down your contrast so much that your motif looks muddy and kind of disappears. But if you tone down the contrast a little bit, it will have a softer feel to it. Does that make sense? I hope so. It makes sense in my head. So yeah, these two colors are going to go together. I'm going to make a colorwork yoke sweater. I think I'm also going to do some colorwork on the sleeves, which I never do, so that will be fun. There may be children coming up. I'm very excited to work with this yarn because it's so cool. I've never worked with unspun yarn before, so just to work with something new is really exciting. Plus it's really, really soft. Like I expected something rustic, like really rustic, more like Icelandic wool, like Letlopi level rustic, but it's not at all. I would compare it to the Corridale I've worked with before. So it's not like a super soft, like this Better Breakfast DK is merino and dehair alpaca. It's super soft and silky. This one isn't soft, like as soft as this would be, but this one is still soft. Maybe I should try to come up with like a softness rating 1 through 10. I press it against my neck. My neck is my most sensitive area, my neck and my upper back right here. But if I press a yarn against my neck, I can tell pretty quickly if I can wear it, because if it's prickly, it will just drive me insane. There is the tiniest amount of prickle. Like, it's not going to bother me at all. I will find this to be next to skin soft. And I'm not somebody who likes to wear Icelandic wool. Letlopi is too crazy for me yet. I'll get there perhaps someday, but I'm not there yet. So this one's quite soft, but it's still very woolly and sheepy. If that makes sense. I feel like these are all a lot of very subjective terms, and yeah. What's woolly and sheepy to one person may be unbearably scratchy to another person, or baby soft to another person. So yeah, these are subjective terms. Maybe I should come up with a yarn rating scale. But yeah, I'm so excited to work with these. So excited. Woo. Sometime next year, I'm gonna try to finish up all of my book projects by the end of February so that I can play with new stuff. So that's my new yarn. Giant box of new yarn. So yeah, I think that's everything. I think that is absolutely everything. this has probably been really long. I haven't kept track of how many times I've restarted my filming, so hopefully you are still here and didn't mind that I talked forever about knitting. When I was planning to podcast, I thought, oh, I won't have anything to talk about. That wasn't true. So, don't forget about the giveaway. Tell me down below who you're going to knit for, and I'll pick a winner on January 3rd for a copy of my book, Woodland Ramble. Sign up for my newsletter, because these two patterns, the Ruska hat and Blizzard, will be coming out in January. If you're on Instagram and you follow me on Instagram, please do not assume that the Instagram algorithm will show you the post, because I'm going to take a break starting Thursday for the rest of the year. So I will be in Instagram timeout. So make sure you sign up for my newsletter. Anyway, they don't go super well together, honestly. I had my husband take some pictures of me wearing both together, and I was like, maybe they're not quite coordinating enough. But anyway, I have a foot of snow to shovel off of various places, and I need to go do that now because it will freeze into a solid chunk of ice later today. It's currently above freezing, but it's not going to stay that way for very much longer. So I hope you guys have more enjoyable plans for the rest of your day. I'm going to go shovel some snow, and then hopefully after that I can just knit on the next hat for the rest of the day. Thank you for being here. I'm so glad you've come to listen to me talk endlessly about yarn, and subscribe to my channel so that next time you will see when I put up a new video, and also you'll see when I put up tutorials, because there's going to be a pom-pom tutorial coming out hopefully by the end of the year. Before Blizzard comes out, I'm going to put up a mega tutorial on how to knit color work. It's going to cover pretty much everything, I think. So that one will be one you won't want to miss if you want to learn how to knit color work. So subscribe to my channel and sign up for my newsletter, and I will talk to you all later. Bye!